Hi everyone, welcome to Lipstick on a Rig. Today we're going to be making a beanie that has the look of a traditional flannel. For this project, I'm going to be using size 4 medium weight acrylic yarn, and this is just the Big Twist Value brand, and the colors are black, white, and soft gray. And we're also going to be using a size F or 5 crochet hook. And if you haven't already, then please check out the precursor to this video, and I will link to it in the description, and that is my How to Crochet a Beanie Brim. And for that video, I crocheted a brim that is 15 stitches deep and roughly 16 inches wide. And I went ahead and joined the two edges together like I show you how to do in that video. And I went ahead and folded my brim up to hide my ridge, and I sectioned my brim off into 4 equal parts. And so now what we're going to be doing is placing single crochets going all the way around our row. And we're going to switch the color of the single crochet every 5 stitches. And so what I'm looking for is a total of 90 single crochets going all the way around my row. And of course 90 isn't divisible evenly by 4, so you're going to need to place 22 stitches in one section, 23 in the second section, 22, and then 23 again. And so for me, I'm going to be using my white and my light gray for this next row. And to get started, I'm just going to start inserting my crochet hook into these available loops on both edges. Just like that. So I've inserted my crochet hook on both sides of the brim. And now I'm just going to yarn over all the loops on my crochet hook with my next color. And from here, I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm just going to insert my crochet hook in the available loops again on both sides and start placing my single crochets. And I'm going to place 5 single crochet stitches. And so when it comes to your very last single crochet, we're going to place the beginning of the stitch. So we're going to insert our crochet hook in those loops and yarn over and drop the 2 loops. And then when we're down to our last step of finishing out our single crochet, we're going to yarn over with our next color. So grab your next color, and then you're just going to yarn over and finish out that stitch with it. And then I like to make sure that I tighten up all of my tails. So since we're going to be switching colors quite often, rather than cutting and tying off our yarn, I am just going to work over my working yarn for my other color. So since I switched to my white color, I'm going to be working over my gray color here. So I'm going to go ahead and place my next 5 single crochets, and I'm going to line this working yarn up with my brim so that I can crochet over it. And again, when it comes to your very last stitch, you're going to switch colors in the middle of the stitch. And we're still going to be working over our previous color, so go ahead and insert your crochet hook into your loops and then yarn over and pull through. And then you're just going to drop your current color and pick up your other color like this. Then yarn over with it. And so you can see here that you should have 1 chain stitch and then 5 stitches of each color. So now we're just going to repeat that process again with our next color. So we're going to work over this previous color here. And that's going to be our pattern for the entire row. So you're going to place your 90 single crochets, and you're going to alternate your color every 5 stitches. And when you get to the end of your row and you've placed your 90 stitches, make sure you switched colors at the end of your last stitch. And we're going to skip this chain stitch, and we're going to place a slip stitch in the top of that first stitch there. Then we're going to chain 1. And still working over our colors, what we're going to do is we're going to place a single crochet in this same stitch where we placed our slip stitch. And then we're basically going to follow the same pattern as we did in the last row, placing 1 single crochet in each stitch in our row and changing colors so that our colors are aligning with light colors. So you should have 5 single crochets of each of your colors going all the way around your row. And again, when you get to the end of your row, make sure that you switched colors on that last stitch. And now we are just going to simply place a slip stitch in the top of our first single crochet stitch, which is right here. And just like before, we're going to chain 1 and then place another single crochet in that same stitch. And from here, we're just going to repeat that last row again. And I went ahead and repeated that last row 3 more times so that I have a total of 5 rows of light colors. And so I've gone ahead and switched my colors, and now I'm just going to repeat that pattern for the next 5 rows just with new colors. And I went ahead and repeated this process for 4 total sections of my flannel. And I'm going to switch to the white color for the top of my beanie. And from here, we're going to begin to decrease. So what you're going to do is slip stitch into the top of your first single crochet just like before. And then we're going to chain 1 and place another single crochet in that same exact stitch, just like we've been doing for all of our previous rows. And so the pattern for this row is going to be to place 1 single crochet in your first 7 stitches, and then you're going to single crochet stitch 8 and stitch 9 together. And we've already placed our first single crochet, so we just need to place 6 more. And once you have your 7 single crochets in place, go ahead and insert your crochet hook up underneath that 8th stitch. We're going to yarn over and pull through. Then up underneath that 9th stitch and yarn over and pull through. And then we're just going to yarn over and drop the 3 loops that are on our crochet hook. And that's how you single crochet your 2 stitches together. And that's going to be our pattern for the entire row. So we're going to place 1 single crochet in our next 7 stitches, and then we're going to single crochet together stitch 8 and stitch 9. And we're just going to repeat that going all the way around our row, and when we get done, we should have a total of 80 stitches. And when you get to the end of your row, make sure that you skip your chain stitch, and we're going to place a slip stitch in the top of our first single crochet. And we're going to chain 1. And then we're going to go ahead and place a single crochet in that same stitch. And the pattern for this row is going to be to place 1 single crochet in your first 6 stitches, and then you're going to single crochet together stitch 7 and stitch 8. And you're just going to repeat that going all the way around your row, and when you get done, you should have a total of 70 stitches. And again, at the end of your row, we're going to place our slip stitch in the top of that first single crochet, place our chain stitch, and then a single crochet again. And the pattern for this row is going to be to place 1 single crochet in your first 5 stitches, and then you're going to single crochet together stitch 6 and stitch 7. And you're just going to repeat that going all the way around your row, and when you get done, you should have a total of 60 stitches. And again, we're going to slip stitch into the top of our first single crochet stitch, chain 1, and then single crochet again in that same stitch. And the pattern for this row is going to be to place 1 single crochet in the first 4 stitches, and then you're going to single crochet together stitch 5 and stitch 6. And you're just going to repeat that going all the way around your row, and when you get done, you should have a total of 50 stitches. And again, when you get to the end of your row, you're going to place your slip stitch in the top of your first single crochet stitch, chain 1, single crochet in that same stitch. And the pattern for this row is going to be to place 1 single crochet in your first 3 stitches, and then you're going to single crochet together stitch 4 and stitch 5. And you're just going to repeat that going all the way around your row, and when you get done, you should have a total of 40 stitches. And again, at the end of your row, you're just going to place your slip stitch in the top of that first single crochet stitch, chain 1, and then place a single crochet in that same stitch. And the pattern for this row is going to be to place 1 single crochet in your first 2 stitches, and then you're going to single crochet together stitch 3 and stitch 4. And you're just going to repeat that going all the way around your row, and when you get done, you should have a total of 30 stitches. And again, we're going to place our slip stitch in the top of that first single crochet stitch, chain 1, and then place our first single crochet. And for this row, we're going to alternate between placing 1 single crochet and then single crocheting 2 stitches together, going all the way around our row. And when you get to the end of your row, you should have a total of 20 stitches. And at the end of this row, what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch into that first single crochet, but we won't be placing a chain stitch or anything like that. From here, we're just going to begin single crocheting 2 stitches together at a time, going all the way around our row and for multiple rows until the hole at the top of the beanie becomes very small. And once the hole at the top is very small, then insert your crochet hook in a stitch on the opposite side of that hole, and we're just going to place a slip stitch there. And that should close that gap up a little bit. And then from here, we're just going to cut and tie off our yarn. And I'm going to pull my tail through the inside of my beanie. And in the description, I will link to my DIY pom-pom maker. Please let me know in the comments below if you experienced any issues while you were making this, and I will do my best to help you out. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel, Lipstick on a Rig. Thank you so much for working with me, and I hope you have a wonderful, awesome day.